we are going to be imposing a 25% increase. We're going to bring it from 25% to 50%, the tariffs on steel into the United States of America.
President Trump just doubled down, literally. In a surprise announcement from a Pennsylvania steel plant, he raised tariffs on imported steel from 25% to 50%. That's the highest U.S. steel tariff in modern history. At the same time, he endorsed a controversial partnership between U.S. Steel and Japan's Nippon Steel, a deal he once opposed. So, is this a major step toward reviving American manufacturing? Or a risky economic gamble with ripple effects across multiple industries? Let's break it down.
President Trump hoped for an economic boost by allowing Japan's Nippon Steel to buy U.S. steel.
On May 30th, President Trump announced a new 50% tariff on all imported steel, up from the existing 25%. He made the announcement in West Mifflin, Pennsylvania, steel country, while standing beside executives from U.S. Steel and Nippon Steel. This wasn't just about trade policy. It was also a pivot. Trump had previously criticized Nippon's proposed takeover of U.S. Steel, calling it a threat to national control. Now, he frames it as an investment deal and a way to secure American jobs. At the event, Trump said, "I was thinking of 40%, but I asked them, would you prefer 50? And they said yes, so we're going with 50. The tariff, according to Trump, will build a wall around the U.S. steel industry, one foreign competitors can't climb over. Not everyone is cheering. The auto industry, construction firms, and manufacturers who depend on steel as a raw material are deeply concerned. CBS News reports that 66% of U.S. manufacturers now cite rising raw material costs as a top concern, a sharp increase compared to Q1 2025. The worry is simple. More expensive steel means more expensive products. One manufacturer interviewed in Pittsburgh told CBS back in February, "I like tariffs. I want business to stay in America. But I'm hoping they don't target steel and aluminum. We can't build anything without them." Analysts also point to energy constraints. Expanding domestic steel production requires large increases in power consumption, something the U.S. grid may not be ready for. Still, for workers in towns like West Mifflin, the message is resonating. The Nippon deal is expected to protect over 11,000 jobs in the region, according to CBS. And many residents, including union members who were initially skeptical, now say they're on board. Not because of politics, but because of stability. Local union reps told Fox News that their plant's equipment is over 80 years old. U.S. Steel wasn't planning to reinvest, but Nippon is. One worker put it this way.
And U.S. Steel has no interest in sort of reinvesting in it, but Nippon does. And as these guys say, they're like, we don't care what it's called. We just want some sort of partnership or deal.
The sentiment. If tariffs and foreign investment can bring certainty, that's enough to move forward. Beyond Pennsylvania, the impact will be felt globally. Canada, the largest exporter of steel to the U.S., sold over $7 billion worth of steel south of the border in 2024. That trade could now face massive disruption. While some of Trump's broader universal tariffs have been challenged in court, the steel tariffs remain legally intact, at least for now. According to multiple networks, including CBC and ABC News, these tariffs fall under a different trade provision not currently under judicial review. Even so, the uncertainty is adding pressure. A Bloomberg analysis found that mentions of uncertainty on U.S. corporate earnings calls hit 3,100 in Q2 2025, the highest in 2 decades. Trump called tariffs the most beautiful word in the dictionary. But beauty is subjective, and economics is complex. Raising steel tariffs might strengthen one industry, but it could squeeze many others. From automakers to appliance manufacturers, rising input costs could hit consumers fast. Trump is betting that pairing steep tariffs with foreign investment will buy time and jobs for American steel. But the broader question remains, can the U.S. build long-term economic strength by blocking foreign competition? Or is this a short-term fix with hidden costs? Only time, and your next car price will tell.
Mr. President, on Apple, you said this morning that if they don't make their iPhones in the U.S., you're going to hit them with a 25% tariff.
Right. You know, the iPhone, if they're going to sell it in America, I want it to be built in the United States.
President Trump is putting Apple on notice. move iPhone production to the US, or face a 25% import tariff. That sounds simple, but here's the reality. Apple says building iPhones in America would make them cost $3,500 or more. So is this economic patriotism or a pricing nightmare?
You know, actually, as you know, Apple's coming in with $500 billion. So are the chip companies. We have all of the chip companies.
Trump's ultimatum follows a tense meeting with Apple CEO Tim Cook at the White House. Though Apple had already pledged $430 to $500 billion in U.S. investments over the next 4 years, including chip facilities in Arizona and job training initiatives, Trump says that's not enough. His frustration intensified after learning that Apple was moving part of its iPhone production to India, not the U.S. In a Truth Social post, Trump claimed there was an understanding that iPhones for the U.S. market would be built domestically. Now, he's threatening a 25% tariff on all iPhones not made in the U.S., effective by the end of June. But behind the politics lies a much deeper economic issue. Apple's global supply chain is one of the most complex in the world. A single iPhone contains over 1,600 components sourced from more than 40 countries. Final assembly happens in China, mostly at Foxconn and Pegatron facilities, where highly specialized labor, mature logistics infrastructure, and massive economies of scale keep costs in check. As Tim Cook explained at the Fortune Global Forum, China isn't just about cheap labor. It's about unmatched scale, skill, and speed. Technology analyst Carmi Levy, Global News, May 2025, estimates that shifting full iPhone production to the US would increase costs 3 to 5 times. That's due to higher US labor wages, a lack of manufacturing infrastructure, and long delays to build or repurpose factories. To replicate even 10% of Apple's current production would cost $20 to $30 billion and take 5 to 10 years, according to CNN analysts and experts quoted in ET Now and DW News. And it's not just about making the iPhone. The US currently lacks a domestic ecosystem of suppliers for components like advanced display panels, vibration motors, and lithium battery modules. Many of these are only produced in East Asia. Apple has few good choices. If it absorbs the 25% tariff, that's a direct hit to its profit margins, already under pressure from slowing global smartphone sales. If it passes the cost to consumers, the average iPhone could jump from $1,000 to $3,500 or more, according to Levy. That would price many Americans out of the market. And it's not just theory. 75% of Americans now use their smartphones over 2 hours a day. CNN data, May 2025. For many, a working smartphone isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. There's also risk to Apple's brand. Drastically raising prices could open the door for Samsung, Google, or even budget Chinese brands to steal market share. A possible middle ground? Apple may offer to relocate some high-end or government-contracted models to new US factories, while negotiating a longer-term plan with clear targets and timelines. But for now, markets aren't optimistic. Apple has already lost $70 to $92 billion in market value since Trump's first post. And tech suppliers, like Qualcomm, TSMC, and Broadcom, are also under pressure, with fears that tariffs or retaliatory policies could cascade through the entire electronics industry. This isn't just a headline battle. It's a clash between global supply chains and nationalist policy. And unless a compromise is reached, American consumers may be the ones left holding the bill. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more updates as this story develops.